This is compound interest, and this is just a continuation of the last section. It's just that we ran out of time, and I wanted to talk about this a little bit. Normally interest isn't simple interest. In chapter 1, we worked with simple interest, where interest equals principal times rate times time. Remember that formula? But that's really unrealistic. That's normally not the kind of interest most people earn or are paid. Usually, you earn interest, leave the interest in the account, so you're earning interest on the interest over time. And what happens when you do that is your money grows exponentially. It doesn't grow in a linear fashion as we supposed in I equals PRT. So we're going to use the formula for exponential growth to calculate compound interest. In this case, we're going to use A as the initial investment, and R is the rate of interest, and T is the time period. So in this example, if you put $250 in a savings account that earns 4% annual interest compounded yearly, you don't make any deposits or withdrawals, and we want to know how much is your investment worth in 5 years. So you use the formula that we learned in the previous presentation, and that is y equals a times 1 plus r to the t, where r is the rate of interest and t is the time period and a is the initial amount. So here we're going to plug in the values in the problem, and that is y equals 250 times 1.04, which is the 1 plus the rate of interest, the 4%, and we're going to raise that to 5 because it's 5 years. You want to make sure that your rate of interest and the way that's set up agrees with the time period that you're looking at. So the rate of interest, if it's yearly, then your T must be in years. And it can get very complicated because it could be compounded monthly, but they tell you that you leave it in the bank for 5 years. So then you'd have to figure out how many months are in 5 years and change that T. So be careful of what you're doing when you set these up and the information that you're given. This one's fairly straightforward because it's in years already. When I calculated this out, I got $304.16. Okay, so let's look at another one. You put $125 in a savings account that earns 2% interest compounded yearly. How much would your investment be worth in 5 years? So again, A is the initial amount, that's 125. Your rate that goes into the parentheses there is 1 plus 0.02 because it's 2%, and you're going to raise that to the fifth because it's 5 years. Your rate of interest is yearly and your time period is in years, so it's really pretty simple here. When you multiply that out, it's 138.01. Now you're going to have to make sure that you have your calculator for these. I don't expect you to be doing this manually or doing it in your head. Uh, so make sure on your calculator, the reason I type this way, using this notation, because this is the notation that's on your calculator, okay? This caret notation, that's raising something to a power. So make sure that that's what you're using, and always do that first before you multiply by A. So in other words, you're going to do 1.04 and then caret 5, calculate that, and then multiply it by the 250 in this particular problem, okay? Get used to those keystrokes so that you can do that fairly quickly.